Time to restrand. Actually, probably time to quit for the day. We'll finish that later. Well, I sure wish working on Pearl was the only thing I had to do around here. That would be great. Hi, hello again, and welcome back to the MT and Me. Nice to have you along, my nomies, and thanks for sitting through a couple of minutes of me doing a little bit of lawn maintenance at the beginning of this video. I showed you that for one reason, really, just kind of as a reminder to you, and to myself, actually, that I do have more responsibilities than working on Pearl. I've told you on more than one occasion that I would love to just be able to get out here and fix her up and drive her away, but, you know, life doesn't let me do that because I still have a full-time job. And on top of that, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into having a home. For one thing, as you just saw, I have to be a lawn care specialist. Yeah, that takes up some time, particularly in the spring and summer months when everything's green and growing. Beyond that, I'm also a plumber, at least for my own problems, because I have plenty of those along the way, in and around my dwelling. I have to be an electrician, same thing. Anything I want to do, I try to do myself since I do have a bit of experience in that field. Chief cook and bottle washer on top of all that, keep myself going. And I have to be a carpenter, although I'm not a very good one, I'll tell you right off the bat. I have to be a painter, which is something I do not enjoy at all. What else? Have to be able to, well, let me just say in the past, I have helped to hang and repair drywall. I've never done it by myself, but I guess if push came to shove, I kind of sort of know how to handle it, maybe. But it would look terrible when I finish, I'm sure. And I don't know if that'll be applicable to Pearl or not. A lot of these things will be. The plumbing, the electrical, the carpentry, all these skills are things that I will eventually put to use when I'm remodeling the back part of Pearl, the living end of her. Not so much right now. I'm working on the mechanical end of her, the front end, the motor. And there my meager skills as a mechanic have been displaying themselves as of late as being, well, barely adequate, if at all. So, but I thought we would start out this video by doing that little summary, and also then showing you, let's review our to-buy list and to-do lists, okay? Not necessarily in that order, because this is the to-do list. Let's see, what have we got here? What have we done? Okay, repair dipstick tube. I've obviously added a few things to this since the last time we looked at it. Repair dipstick tube, that is a work in progress, and we may get to that the latest in just a moment here, because I've had another suggestion to me that I want to try. Okay, so more on that later. Check the starter. You know what? We've done that. And, yeah, starter works. Starter's good. We took the starter off, checked it out, turned it over, and chased it down because it crawled all over the place when we started it, which is a good thing. Plenty of torque. Runs great. Starter's good. Check alternator. Haven't done that yet. I have it off. I had to take it and the mechanical fuel pump off to get to the broken dipstick tube. You know that story. So the alternator is off, and I'm going to have to look up exactly how you check one. I know I can take it to a shop and have it checked, and I know that I think the new battery charger that I bought has an alternator check built in, but you have to have the alternator installed and running. You know, all it does is check whether or not it's charging like it should. Okay. So I've got to look into that. Point is, I've got the alternator off. It needs a good cleaning anyway, so we may get into that on a future video before too long. Okay. Check fuel pump. That's plural. Pumps. The S is in parentheses because Pearl has two of them. She's got the mechanical pump that I took off a few weeks ago off the engine, and then there's that electric pump that we tracked down and figured out what it was a few months ago. Okay, so I checked the mechanical pump there again. I've got to look and see. I guess you look to see if the diaphragm's okay in it, and if that's the case, then it's good. I don't know. It had gas, a little bit of gas in it, in the little bottom reservoir. Whenever I took it off, there was gas in the fuel line going to it, so it obviously had been part of the circuit, part of the system. How much it was contributing, I don't know. The electric pump is on the we will check this in the next few weeks list. In fact, I was going to do it last week whenever we discovered that the battery was dead, and I'm still getting it charged up, by the way. So we're not doing anything electrical this time around, but that's on hold, but we'll get that taken care of too. And we're going to check that electric fuel pump to see if either it runs or it doesn't. Okay, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, check the fuel pump. Install the air cleaner. Pardon me. We bought the air cleaner. Got a whole video about that. And then discovered that it doesn't want to fit on the carburetor because on these carburetors you have to have a little Y-shaped dealie that clips down on the carb and then sticks up, and the air cleaner attaches to that. That's the characteristic of these this particular type of carburetor. All right, well, I don't have that part, so we're in the process of looking for that part. We find it, we'll install the air cleaner. At least we have it. It's cleaned up, it's ready to go. It's a clean air cleaner, which is a good thing. Change the oil and filter. Okay, let's circle back to this dipstick problem. I have the oil, I have the filter. I was going to do that whenever the darn dipstick tube broke and put that on hold. But hey, we have the oil and filter, and as soon as we get the dipstick straightened out, we can change it. All right, and then, assuming the battery's charged, we can try turning the engine over. There's a lot of stuff that hinges on the next thing happening or the previous thing happening here. It's all cascades, as you can see. So I'm hoping that when I get that dipstick tube repaired, it's going to allow for a whole lot of other stuff to happen in pretty quick succession. Maybe. Anyway. Hey, repair ignition wiring. Finally, something that I've done. I am pretty darn sure the ignition wiring is okay. I won't know for sure until I hit it and it actually turns the starter over. But the electrical readings say that should happen and it'd be all right. So I'm taking it off the list for the time being. We repaired the wiring several months ago, got the battery installed, got the new battery cables hooked up. We put in a new voltage regulator because I just happened to buy one because I found it at a good price is really the reason I bought it. And I thought, hey, for, 12, 15 bucks I can replace this. And it looked like the other one had leaked a little bit, and whenever I took the old one off, sure enough, it had a meltdown. So the voltage regulator's been replaced. Still a possibility of replacing the electronic ignition module if that proves necessary. You won't really be able to check and see if that's running efficiently until the engine is actually running itself. If there's some problems with the timing and the firing, then that could be a culprit on that. So we'll wait on that and see. My meter tells me the ballast resistor is fine, and that's usually the case. It's usually pretty obvious that they burn up because they burn up. And this one looks great, and the readings are exactly what they should be, so I'm not worried about it at this point. So, point is, I think the ignition electrical system is good. So, what? I took one thing off the list, is that right? Okay, well, that's one less to worry about. Let's look at the, hang on, there we are. Let's look at the stuff we need to buy list. Stuff I need to spend money on, or what have I bought? Okay, well, right here, radiator hoses, top and bottom. Got them both. They're right on this shelf, right above me here in Pearl. They're ready to go. Oil and filter, yes, I have bought them. They are right here beside me in Pearl. They're just not doing anything yet. Fuel line and filter. No, have not got those yet. Do need to get definitely a new fuel filter. I need an inline filter and some. I think I'm going to replace. Well, I need fuel line to go, if nothing else, from either the mechanical pump to the carburetor or from the feed line to the mechanical pump to the carburetor, depending on if I put the mechanical pump back in. But anyway, fuel line. I got to get some fuel line and a filter. Okay. Down here, 1/8" plywood, tight bond, drop cloth. This is all stuff again for the back part of Pearl, the live-in part. I'm not worried about that yet. Air filter. I have the cleaner. I need the air filter that goes inside. There was an old one, but you don't reuse those things. So I'll get an air filter, air cleaner mounting clip, assembly doodad, that little Y thing I was talking about that snaps in on top of the carburetor. So far, the only ones I've been able to find for sale are in Australia. I'm serious. There's a couple of auto companies in Australia selling these things, and they must be gold-plated because they're about $50 each, and that doesn't include shipping from Australia, which, I mean, you can drop it in an envelope. It's not a lot. The shipping's 10 or 12 bucks, you know, which is outrageous, but I'm just not ready to spend that kind of money yet. I've got to make another trip to the junkyard and either come away with one of those clips or come away with a carburetor that doesn't need one. So, one way or the other. Okay, so that's hanging. Headlights. I need 2 headlights. I've decided these, I know one of them, the passenger side, has got to be burned out. And I'm pretty sure now that the driver's side is burned out too. That's got to be why these things aren't working. I mean, I might have a high beam in one of them. If I ever get a battery back, I can check that. But high beam alone's not going to be good. I've got to replace the headlights. It's a cheap replacement. I'll get that taken care of. And you may be wondering, well, Russ, what about the ones on the back, your tail lights? Those are going to be replaced. The assemblies that are on there, let me see if I can describe this. They're a 3-light assembly. Actually 4 if you count. There's a backup lamp built in there, but it's got the tail light and blinker and reflector and backup lamp all built into it. And so I guess I think there's actually 3 bulbs inside it. And they're so old, the mountings are falling apart. I'm going to have to completely replace the mountings. If I do that, I may as well go ahead and replace the whole thing with an LED replacement. I can get the exact size, dimensions, and everything with modern LED bulbs in it. So, yeah, that's what's going to go on the back end. And that probably is what's going to replace all of the running lights, too. Pearl has a whole set of running lights across the front top. And then they're on the back and on the sides and here and there, so, you know, so that you can see what size she is when she's traveling at night in the dark. And all those will be replaced with LED lighting as well. So there again, I'm not focused on those in particular right now, but I do want to get those headlights done, and I actually need to look at the probably the turn signal lamps too. Go ahead and get those. They're part of the bumper. They've been completely unplugged and taken out whenever I took the bumper off because they're mounted in that assembly. And so I need to look at the bumper and check those just so I can be sure and go ahead and get those bulbs. I'll have them on hand whenever I do put all that back together. So I think in a very small acorn-sized nutshell, which I can say because I'm sitting under a big oak tree, I believe that kind of brings us up to speed on the to-do list and the to-purchase list for Pearl. It's a lot of stuff. But boy, I've done a lot. You know, I got to thinking the other day, you know, man, we bought new spark plugs and wires, put them in, got a new ignition coil, put them in. I mentioned we got the new voltage regulator, took care of that. So that initial engine wiring is all taken care of. We've done a cursory check of the motor, had the valve covers off, checked the operation. Everything looks weird. I've turned it over by hand. Everything seems to work fine. I think we're in really good shape there. Got the starter off, checked it. It works, put it back on. So I haven't, about the only thing I really haven't checked mechanically is the transmission. All I can tell you is that it does indeed shift. It goes through all of its gears, and it seems to be pretty smooth operating there, and everything looks okay on it. It is, I believe I've mentioned before, the Dodge 727 automatic transmission, just about as popular and famous as the 360 LA engine itself is, and the combination of the two is well proven over time. So I'm not really anticipating any transmission problems. I do want to, and I need to put this on my list. Which one? This is the to buy list? Yeah, okay. See, I'm thinking of stuff as we go along. Transmission, filter, and fluid. Okay, all right. So that's on the list now too, because I do need to buy that. I want to drain the transmission, get the pan off. Yeah, that's the only way to drain a transmission in automatic is you drop the pan, you let all the fluid out, and then you can access your filter and you take it off, put it back on, put a new one on, and fill her back up. So, okay. So I do want to take care of that, give her a fresh transmission. That also gives you a chance, whenever you drop the transmission pan, you always check to see if there's anything in there besides transmission fluid. And I'm talking about, well, certainly little pieces. You don't want to see like gear teeth and stuff. That's very, very bad. But you're looking for just shavings of dust, metallic dust, anything like that that would show wear and tear. You just always check your pan for that. Okay, so we'll do that when the time comes. Okay, now, since I got off on the transmission there, that should bring us up to speed, up to date, up to something anyway, on where we are as far as our to-do list and our to-buy list. And hey, let me remind you right now, if you want to help out on the to-buy list, if you will check below on YouTube in the description, there's a link where you can buy me a coffee. And when you do that, you're helping to buy stuff for Pearl. That's where all that money goes. Okay, so I appreciate the help and support if you'd like to chip in a few bucks. All right. All that being said, I want to go back to the broken dipstick tube just briefly here. I've got one thing I'm going to try that was suggested to me by my buddy Jeff. And it was one of those, and he said something, and I thought, well, you know, I've been digging at it with a probe. You've watched me do that. I have those little metal probes. Actually, they're stainless steel surgical tools, the kind of things that dentists get in your mouth with and surgeons use to pull things out of the way when they're working on your insides. But hey, they're great for mechanical work, and they've been so far pretty good about helping me try to get that little piece of dipstick tubing out. Jeff suggested taking something else, maybe an ice pick, which is where my mind went anyway, and trying to go down, how do I describe this, the side of where the tube and the block, where, in other words, where it's stuck down in the block, trying to get in between those two and drive a pick down in there to bend the tubing away from the block to the inside so that I can make a gap and therefore loosen the whole thing up and pull it out. And I can definitely see some logic to that idea. So we're going to try that and just see if it goes anywhere. If it does, woohoo! If it doesn't, then I'm quitting. Not going to get myself drug into a long process today because, well, I just don't have the time or the motivation to do it. But we are circling back to the dipstick problem again today, right now, here on the MT and Me. Well, there is an all too familiar sight. A small hole in my engine block stuffed with a broken piece of dipstick tube. We're still trying to get it out. You can see how it's all bungled up around the edge. I'm kind of counting on that. I hope that maybe we can work that to our advantage today. The really big question is all that stuff going to do any good whatsoever when it comes to trying to get that little bitty piece of tube out? There's only one way to find out. Let's do this. As always, the biggest problem is going to be access. See, we have an ice pick, and we're going to try and go right around that edge. See what it will do. Definitely bending it out a little bit. I guess the term's bending it in, actually. Well, I think I have it driven down into the edge there like I'm talking about, but I'm not sure if it's accomplishing anything. Bending my ice pick, I'll tell you that. Let's see if we can grab anything here and move something. Okay. There's a small piece of it. Just really can't get down in there and get to it. Wonder if this bit would. You know what? I'm gonna go get the drill. This is worth a try. I said I wasn't gonna do anything but the ice pick, but hey. Plans change, don't they? I'm afraid the problem with this, once again, is going to be getting it in place. Let's try that right there. See what happens. Gotta get turned so you can see too. It's certainly tearing up the edge. Crazy, but let's just try reverse. See what it does. It just unscrewed the bit. That's what it did. Okay, well. All right. But we still have a piece of the tube stuck in the engine block. But you know what? It's getting hot out here. I'm already getting tired and frustrated, so I'm not going to push it this time. We're going to chalk it up to experience. I'm going to keep myself calm. Stay cool about this. And then I'll turn the camera off and go, bah! But anyway, you won't be here for that. Here's the deal. Next week, I'm not exactly sure what I'll be doing. I'm thinking Pearl really needs a bath, so I may get out here in the next day or two and just try to give her a good cleaning, because heaven knows she needs it, and it's good for a good springtime cleaning anyway. Wash the winter off. I'm starting to have some lichen grow back on the top of my fiberglass overcab area. Don't want that to get out of hand. So it may just be scrub it up day for this next round with Pearl. Also, coming up next week, and I mentioned this on a previous video, is our local rodeo. Now, you've gone to the rodeo with me at least twice here on the MT and Me. And since I'm going to be there, I'm going to take you along again. So we've got a parade to cover and then 4 nights of rodeo action, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever because this is the 75th annual rodeo to happen right here in the small South Arkansas town of Crossett. 75 years. We are built on tradition around here. There's no question about that. So anyway, more on that coming up in 2 weeks right here on the MT and Me. Give you something else to look forward to. For now, thank you for staying with me through the lawn maintenance and the review of our to-do and to-buy list, and then even a few minutes spent here once again trying to take off or get out the piece of broken dipstick tube. Again, I ask you, I plead with you, if you have any ideas, please put them in the comments below, because right now, you know, I'm open to virtually anything to try and get this little piece of metal out. It is really cramping my style and really cramping my plans for Pearl. So if you got an idea, a suggestion, please put it in the comments below, and I can just about guarantee I'll give it a try, because I am running out of ideas on my own. Next time we approach this, I think I'm going to have to call in some reinforcements. I've got 1, maybe 2 people here that I can turn to and depend on. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, that's going to be it. Leave your comments below. Give me a thumbs up. Like and share the video. Check out the mtandme.com. Buy me a coffee if you want to help out. All that good stuff. And join us every Sunday right here for the latest developments with Pearl and me on the MT and Me. Till next time, I'm Russ, and we will talk later. Or scream later. Or cry together later. It all depends, you know.